This is your complete city guide to the Spanish city of Madrid. How to get here from the airport or the train station, how to get around the place, what attractions to see, the best places to eat, how to avoid being gored by a bull, and how to have the most amazing time when you're visiting one of Europe's most iconic cities. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spanish capital. I guarantee that you'll fall in love with this place. Whether it's the gorgeous weather, the laid-back atmosphere, the amazing food and drink, the iconic attractions, or the warm welcome of the people, Madrid definitely wants adding to anyone's bucket list. But it's a big city, and you'll need to know your way around the place. So let's have a look at a map of Madrid. At first glance, it looks incredibly complicated. But take a look at this middle bit here, Puerta del Sol. This is considered to be the middle of Madrid city centre, and this is where most of the metro lines cross. All of the attractions that you'll have heard of are located to the left of Puerta del Sol, and all the famous museums and park spaces are located to the right. Treat Puerta del Sol as your centre point, and you will never get lost here in the city of Madrid. Madrid is served by 2 major train stations and 2 major airports. I'll leave detailed instructions towards the end of the video on how to arrive into the centre of Madrid from these places. I'll also indicate how to get around the place using the Madrid metro system. In short, it's fairly self-explanatory. It's no different to any other mass transit system that you'll have encountered, but there's a few caveats you need to know, and I'll cover those towards the end of the video. So now that you've arrived, let's visit the most visited and most famous attraction in the city. The Royal Palace of Madrid. This is traditionally home to the Spanish royal family, and is very reminiscent of our very own Buckingham Palace. It's a super imposing building. If you don't want to pay to go inside, that's okay. You can take many good photos and videos from the exterior of the palace. Especially going around the side, you can see pretty much all of the courtyard. There's also a cool viewing platform around here, and that's a funny way to carry a child. But if you do want to go inside the Royal Palace, you'll need to queue up for tickets here at the ticket office, which can be quite long. I recommend that you book your tickets in advance to skip the queue. But once you've paid your money, this allows you to the inside of the courtyard and to the interior of the palace itself. The highlights to a tour around the Royal Palace include the grand staircase, the many halls and antechambers, this cool mega ballroom, the state dining hall, the on-site chapel, and possibly the most important room of them all, the throne room, where the King of Spain actually sits. Going around all of these rooms and admiring all of the decorations and all of the royal family's personal possessions is pretty cool. But once you're done with that, look across the courtyard and you'll see the most important church in all of Spain. This is Almudena Cathedral. It's quite possibly one of the largest cathedrals that you'll ever lay eyes on. It's absolutely massive and is of great historical importance to the Spanish royal family and the Spanish people. You can take lots of photos and videos from the outside, but given that it's free to enter, you might as well go inside. But you might come across these strange people, wearing masks and waving plastic babies around in the air. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but okay. You'll be treated to the sights of a very colourful and very expansive cathedral. It's pretty amazing to walk around. Be sure to make note of the details of the ceiling. I recommend visiting the Shrine of the Virgin Mary, decked out in gold up here. It's very nice to look at up close and personal. There's lots of ancient artifacts on display, including statues, pictures of flying nuns, creepy nuns, scary nuns, quite a lot of nuns in this place. And for those of you who are bored of that, here's the Wi-Fi password. Overall, it's a lovely cathedral to visit, and it's definitely worth about half an hour of your time. It's also home to an underground crypt, just in case you want to visit some dead people. Don't walk too fast, guys, because there's lots of amazing architecture, there's lots of funky statues, and there's lots to explore around this area. There's even some ice, just in case you want to go ice skating, in the middle of a sunny city. Go north of the Royal Palace and you'll find the oldest thing here in the city of Madrid, the Temple of Debod. Now the reason why this is the oldest thing is because this is actually from ancient Egypt. They've shipped this temple over brick by brick and have reconstructed it here in Madrid. So if you don't want to go all the way to ancient Egypt, you can visit ancient Egyptian stuff here. You can easily take pictures of it from the outside, and it's surrounded by a lush park space. But if you do want to go inside, they only let 10 people in at a time, so you'll be stuck in this massive long queue waiting to get in. But if you're patient enough, you'll be rewarded with some of the coolest Egyptian sites that you'll ever see. It's pretty amazing to think that this was built over 2,000 years ago. And the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs carved into the stone, well, it's pretty amazing. Especially exploring the outside columns and gates, it's all very, very Egyptian, except you're in Madrid. It looks tiny from the outside, but inside it's like an absolute maze. So if you are an ancient history buff, you'll be absolutely mesmerized here. And the fact that the tickets are free, you just have to wait in the sun for a while, makes this attraction totally worth it if you're not in a rush. Just one street away from the Temple of Debod lies one of the most important stately homes in Spain. This is Liria Palace. It doesn't look like much from the outside, but inside is truly stunning. If you pay for a guided tour of this place, you'll be mesmerized at some of the things that you'll find inside of Liria Palace. It's a unique tour experience. It's part guided and it's part audio, with classical Baroque music pumping through your ears as you're walking through this immense palace. It definitely comes recommended, though you will need to book in advance. If you've got all day, take a detour to the San Francisco Basilica. Apparently, this place has the most beautiful dome of any church in the world. It looks impressive from the picture, but when I arrived, it was shut solid, so I'll have to take their word for it. It's also here where you'll find the Toledo Gate, which is a historic gate that is now unfortunately surrounded by a big giant roundabout. But let's head back up towards the Royal Palace and you'll find the Royal Theatre. This is the main opera venue here in the city of Madrid. If you get a chance to see the ballet or the opera here, it does come highly recommended, however, the tickets are incredibly pricey. They also do tours of the Royal Theatre at select days and times. Go immediately south of that and you'll eventually come across the Plaza de la Via, aka the town square. It's a beautifully manicured public square that's outside Town Hall, which is this historic building right here. It also comes with a bunch of weird sculptures, so yeah, this place has everything. It's very peaceful and quiet compared to the next place that we're going to. This is Plaza Major, the largest public square here in the city of Madrid. It's very picturesque, and when I visited Madrid, it was December time. So, as you can see from all the Christmas decorations, Plaza Major is also home to the Spanish Christmas markets, where you can buy a whole plethora of Christmas-related paraphernalia, marvel at the Christmas decorations, and check out some of the boutique eateries and shops that are located around Plaza Major. You can even see how El Turrón is made. El Turrón, of course, is the famous Spanish nougat. I definitely recommend that you buy some to take home with you. And literally down the street, you'll find Puerta del Sol. As mentioned in the introduction, Puerta del Sol is the centre point of the city of Madrid. It's home to Sol metro station, where most of the major metro lines cross. And the square itself, well, it's a bustling hive of activity. Especially here at Christmas time, with the big giant Christmas tree and the lights, etc., it seems to be a buzzing place. The most famous thing here in Puerta del Sol is this, the statue of the bear and the strawberry tree. This is the symbol of the city of Madrid and also happens to be on the logo of one of the football teams. This impressive building here is the old postal building. That's now government headquarters. But let's talk now about some of the amazing food that you'll find around the city of Madrid. And trust me, you don't need to go far, because every corner of the city is filled with iconic eateries. Eating outside is a big part of the Spanish culture, and there's no corner of the city where you can't find an outdoor eatery and enjoy food and drink while sitting in the warm sunshine. If you want to sample all of Spain's most iconic foods all at once, there's only one place you need to go, and it's around the corner from Plaza Major. This is the Mercado de San Miguel. It's basically an indoor foodie market where you can try literally anything that you can think of. Lovely pastries, exquisite cakes, chocolatey churros, seafood as far as the eye can see, fancy wines, tapas for only €2, caviar, calamari, crab, and literally anything that you can think of, you can eat it here at the Mercado de San Miguel. Please note that this gets incredibly busy and crowded, and there are many other markets around Madrid that offer very similar food products at very similar prices. But this one is the most iconic. There's a couple of things that I want you to try before you leave Madrid. One of which is Iberian ham sandwiches, which you can literally find anywhere in the city. Fried calamari, especially if you have it in a sandwich like this. But if you have a sweet tooth, meander down this narrow side street where you'll come across the most iconic churro restaurant in the world. This is Chocolateria San Ginés, one of the original purveyors of churros, established in 1894. It's quite an old, quaint little shop, and because it's so iconic, it might take you a while to be seated. But if you manage to get a table and buy some churros, they'll serve them like this, along with a cup of incredibly thick hot chocolate for you to dip your churros in. And boy, these are some of the best churros I've ever had in my life. Definitely worth the wait and the money. If you're boring, there's plenty of Western restaurant chains dotted around the city, so you definitely will find something that's familiar to you. If you're on a tight budget, of course, visit any supermarket and you can feed yourself for less than €1. Whilst you're wandering around the city eating stuff, you might come across the largest shopping street in all of Madrid. This is Gran Via. It looks impressive, but to be honest, it's not any different to any other Western shopping street that you'll find in any other major city. The one thing I do recommend though is to visit El Corte Inglés, which is the department store, and take the elevator up to the top floor where the gourmet experience is. It's here that you'll get some of the most stunning views of Madrid city centre from its rooftop bar. It's also a fancy place to eat, pick up a cocktail, or whatever you fancy. But as darkness falls and the sun disappears into the horizon, the entire city of Madrid comes alive. It's a beautiful, safe city to explore at night, and you definitely won't be disappointed with what you see if you do decide to take a nighttime constitutional. Especially now, seeing as though it's December, there's plenty of Christmas lights that illuminates everything here in the city. But even if it's not Christmas, visit some of the attractions that you've already been to, because they look totally different at night. Especially around here at Puerta del Sol, you've got the bright Christmas tree and the neon lights, but also the postal building has an incredibly cool light show, and it's actually really magical to watch. Shops here in Spain typically open till about 10 PM, so this is a good opportunity to go shopping as well. If you're looking for a truly iconic thing to do at night, take in a flamenco show. Flamenco is traditional Spanish music and Spanish dancing, and when you've been walking around the city, you'll have probably seen many adverts for flamenco bars. I personally recommend that you visit one very famous one, Via Rosa, which is home to Tablao Flamenco 1911, the oldest flamenco bar in the world. It's definitely very atmospheric, and along with your ticket, you get one free alcoholic drink, which is nice. The music and dancing is absolutely amazing, and it's almost impossible to believe that men and women like this can make their feet move so fast. You will fall in love with Spanish culture after watching this show. My advice for this particular venue is to not buy the cheap seats like I did, but pay for the most expensive ones front and centre next to the stage. You'll be able to see and experience a lot more, and it's a much better experience. So you've now probably experienced everything west of Puerta del Sol. Now it's time to explore everything to the east side of the city. The first thing you'll come across is probably this place, the Puerta Alcala. This is a very picturesque city gate that's now a centerpiece to a roundabout. But please, don't try and kill yourself trying to take pictures of this thing in the middle of the road. There's a much better vantage point right here on the north side, where you've got these two benches and you can take photos and videos without the fear of being run over. It's also around here where you'll find the Palace. This is an iconic fountain that's also surrounded by a roundabout, but it's the frontal piece to this iconic building, Madrid City Hall. It's part City Hall, part art gallery, and it's actually free to go inside. The building itself is quite nice, the art exhibits are rather quite so-so, but the best part of City Hall you actually have to pay for. Pay a few euros to go to the top of City Hall, where you'll get this stunning view at the rooftop terrace. It's a 360-degree view over the entire city of Madrid, and whilst you won't be up here for very long, it's definitely worth parting with some pocket change. As mentioned earlier, the east side of the city is full of museums. The best value for money one, in my opinion, is the National Archaeological Museum. If you're a fan of archaeology or ancient history, for €4 this definitely comes recommended, and you get to see all sorts of wonderful exhibits, whether it's these beautiful mosaics, iconic statues, or ancient pottery. You can see it all here. You'll also get to see my ex-girlfriend in this display cabinet here. Oh Zoe, you haven't aged well at all. But here in the city of Madrid, there's 3 iconic museums that most people visit when they're here. The first and most famous is the Prado Museum. This is the Spanish equivalent to the Louvre in Paris. It's the largest art gallery in the city, and it has some of the most iconic and famous paintings that you'll have ever seen and heard of. But it's not without its problems. It's big and it's overwhelming, and it's incredibly easy to get lost in this place. So if you are coming here, please be sure to take your time and at least get a map so that you don't get lost or almost pee yourself trying to find the nearest toilet. There also seems to be a lot of art forgers working here today. Interesting. On the way out, be sure to visit Los Geronimos Church, it's very pretty on the outside, before you come to the second of the 3 major museums. This is the Thyssen-Bornemisza. It's a traditional art gallery, nowhere near as big or as overwhelming as the Prado of course, but it also has some of the most iconic paintings, sculptures and pieces of art that you'll have ever seen. It was definitely a lot more manageable to walk around. The staff were actually a lot nicer in this place, and you can take as many photos and videos as you want. I was particularly mesmerised by this painting by John Sargent, the portrait of Millicent, Duchess of Sutherland. I don't know what it is about this painting, but I seriously couldn't take my eyes off her. And you'll find many other awe-inspiring paintings like this. The Thyssen-Bornemisza was definitely my favourite out of the 3 main museums. The third of the 3 major museums is literally down the bottom of the street. This is the Reina Sofia. It's more of a contemporary or modern art gallery, and whilst I don't mind modern art, sometimes I really don't get it, one of the things that put me off this particular museum is the fact that the staff are incredibly rude here. Photography and videography is strictly forbidden, and the layout is not at all intuitive, so you'll forever be getting lost in this place. If you do like modern art, it's worth a visit, but if you don't, avoid like the plague. An alternative, and cheaper version of the Reina Sofia is the Caixa Forum. Again, it's mainly contemporary artwork, but I enjoyed this far more than the Reina Sofia. It also has this cool staircase and funky toilets, but it was definitely better than the other one. If you're all museumed out at this point, I don't blame you. I've been talking about those for quite some time, because that's how many there are on this side of the city. But if you want to experience greenery instead, visit the Royal Botanical Gardens that's located right next to the Prado Museum. Now, at this time of the year, which is December, hardly anything is growing, so it seems like a complete waste of money. Yes, there's a few things that are growing, but not enough to justify an entry price in December. But it wasn't a complete bust. The greenhouses growing stuff was pretty cool to look at, it's still a lovely kind of park space, and the bonsai garden with a collection of bonsai trees was worth the price of admission alone. So if you do like beautiful flowers and lots of greenery, this is definitely worth visiting, albeit come in spring and summer, don't come in winter like I did. Let's say you don't want to pay to experience nature. Well, that's okay, because you're right next to the largest park in Madrid city centre. This is El Retiro Park, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous green space, free to enter of course, that's very reminiscent of Hyde Park in London. There's many different facets to it, such as this giant man-made lake, complete with historical column, rivers running all the way through it, people playing musical instruments and wine glasses. Yeah, he was actually pretty good. But the most iconic attraction here at Retiro Park is this, the Crystal Palace. Not to be confused with this Crystal Palace or this Crystal Palace. It's currently under reconstruction because it's winter, but I'm sure it will look amazing in the summertime. Ooh, turtle. In the meantime, be sure to experience the rose gardens, the mazes, the fountains, the trees, the acres of green space. Avoid the art gallery, it's pretty rubbish. And overall, I can see why the locals love this place so much. It's a place where you can get married, exercise, chill out, or dance the afternoon away. It's definitely the most laid-back part of the city, and especially in this warm sunshine, you'll have an amazing afternoon if you spend it here. If you go to the far east part of the city centre, you'll encompass this historic round building. This is Las Ventas, the most famous and historic bullfighting ring in the world. Now, before I get lots of haters commenting on this video, I'm not a big fan of bullfighting. I don't necessarily agree with the concept, but I also respect other countries' cultures and traditions. So if this is what they do here, then who am I to argue against that? I decided to take a tour just to kind of understand what it's all about. And the first thing you'll notice is that the building itself is absolutely spectacular, and you can get some amazing photos and videos just by standing outside. If you want tickets to an actual bullfight, you'll have to queue in this long line right here. But if you just want a tour of Las Ventas, don't wait in this long queue like I did. Simply walk to the front to this purple desk here, pay your money, and away you go. It was actually interesting to learn all about the tradition of Spanish bullfighting, the different kinds of bulls they use, where people sit, where the royal family sits, the procedure on how to execute a bullfight. You'll get an insight on all the behind the scenes stuff, some of it is actually quite upsetting. You also get a tour of the museum, where you can see lots of artifacts to do with bullfighting. I'm actually glad I did this, because now I feel a lot more informed about the tradition of bullfighting. And whilst I still wouldn't see a bullfight myself, I can appreciate why the Spanish like this so much. So if you're still watching this video, you'll have seen most of what Madrid has to offer. All of these attractions will probably take you about 3 days to explore. You can do it quicker of course, but 3 to 4 days is plenty enough. If you're willing to travel a bit further, or if you've done all of that stuff already, there's a few other things that you might want to check out whilst you're here in Madrid. If you go right to the north side of the city centre, you'll find the Victoria Arch, a very impressive arch that's surrounded by a big giant road. It won't take you all that long to see, but right next door to it, you'll find this, Moncloa's Lighthouse. It's a super modern viewing platform. It only costs a few euros, and once you've paid your money, take the glass elevator all the way to the top. You get some stunning views of Madrid city centre from here. It's a great place to take photos and videos, but I'd be lying if I said to you that you'd be here forever, because you'll probably be here for about 30 minutes tops, before taking the glass elevator back down, and there you go. It's still worth the price of admission. If you aren't all museumed out yet, you'll find the Museum of America right next door. In the far east of the city, you'll find the Tower of Spain, which is the TV tower that overlooks the entire city. Unfortunately, you can't go inside, but it is pretty cool to look at from below. And on the far west side of the city, you'll find the area of Casa de Campo. This is the largest green space here in the city of Madrid. It's an absolutely ginormous green space, full of trees, paths, man-made lakes, and everything that you'd expect from a giant park. But it also houses several of the city's attractions. First of which, the zoo and the aquarium. It's very similar to any other zoo or aquarium that you've ever been to, but it's definitely nice to experience, especially if you've got kids with you. Speaking of kids, if you want to keep them entertained, the Attractions Park and Nickelodeon Land are two theme parks that are located right next door to the aquarium and zoo. But you can't leave the city of Madrid without experiencing its favourite pastime. The city is home to 4 professional teams, but the big 2 are Atlético de Madrid, who play in the Estadio Metropolitano located on the east side of the city, and possibly the world's most famous and successful football team, Real Madrid, who play here at the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium located in the north side of Madrid city centre. If it is football season, I highly recommend that you catch a game at one of these 2 teams. If you have a big budget, go to Real Madrid, and if you don't have a big budget, visit Atlético. But if it's not football season, take in one of their iconic stadium tours. And I'm not going to talk too much about any of this stuff because I've made 4 separate videos right here. So if you do want some more detail, check out those videos on my channel. But overall, you will have the most amazing time in this rather fantastic city. Definitely add this to your bucket list, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Okay Nin, I'm sold. What do I need to do? Well, you'll need to come here to Madrid. Madrid is served by 2 major train stations, Príncipe Pío to the west and Atocha to the south. If you're arriving via train, you'll probably end up at one of these 2 stations. They're both connected to the metro system, so you can get to anywhere in the city from these 2 places. If you're flying in, you'll arrive at one of 2 airports. The regional airport, Madrid Cuatro Vientos, which is located to the west of Madrid city centre, or the major international airport, Adolfo Suárez Madrid Barajas, more commonly known as Barajas Airport, which is located to the northeast of the city. Both airports are connected to the metro system, and both airports are connected via buses. However, the fastest way to get in from Cuatro Vientos is to take the train to Atocha, that will take you just 12 minutes, and the fastest way from Barajas is to take the number 203 express shuttle bus, which will drop you off at Príncipe Pío and Atocha in less than 30 minutes. Even though it's faster, I highly recommend that you take the metro system instead. Whilst the map looks incredibly complicated, it's actually very simple to use. And when you're in any metro station, the maps are crystal clear, so it's near impossible to get on the wrong train. I recommend that you buy an all-inclusive travel pass, which is unlimited travel for a set number of days. To buy one of these, you'll need to find a machine that sells tourist tickets. When you approach the terminal, simply select your language, select your card, and select the number of days that you'll need this card for. Once you pay with it with your contactless credit card or cash, it will spit you out this red card. To use the card, simply walk to a turnstile, press the card against it, walk through the turnstile, and away you go. It's literally that easy. And it's exactly the same procedure for the buses and the local trains. Alternatively, you might see adverts for the Madrid City card. It works exactly the same as a red travel card, except that you get additional discounts at various attractions. And whilst it costs exactly the same as a red travel card, you can't actually buy this at any airport. You physically have to be in the middle of Madrid in order to buy one. So because the discounts won't save you all that much money, and you actually have to pay to go into the city centre to buy a Madrid City card, I recommend that if you're arriving by air, just get the normal red travel card and you'll be happy with that. The general cost of things here in Madrid are actually quite reasonable. However, food and drink can quickly add up. So if you're on a tight budget, mix eating out with trips to the supermarket, where you can feed yourself for less than a few euros. If you're looking for a place to stay, I highly recommend that you stay around Puerta del Sol, which is the middle of Madrid city centre. Alternatively, stay between Puerta del Sol and the Royal Palace. On my trip to Madrid, I stayed at the Hotel Europa at Puerta del Sol. It probably wasn't the most modern hotel I've ever stayed in, but the staff service was amazing and the location was literally perfect. You could literally see Puerta del Sol from the window, and Sol metro station is literally downstairs and around the corner. So this made getting around the city incredibly quick and easy. And if you stay anywhere around Puerta del Sol, you'll experience the same. Is there anything else I need to know? Yes. Attractions typically open at 10 AM, but please check the opening and closing times as some attractions close completely, especially museums on Mondays. Spanish is the official language here in Spain. If you speak English, most people will be able to understand you, but it helps to learn basic Spanish words and phrases. The euro is the currency here in Madrid. Most major credit cards are accepted. However, not many places take American Express. Whilst alcohol is served freely around the city, it's not served in supermarkets after 10 PM. So if you find yourself in a shop or a supermarket after 10 PM, you won't be able to purchase alcohol. The Madrid metro system, whilst it's incredibly efficient, is also incredibly busy. It can be incredibly cramped and horribly uncomfortable, so please bear this in mind before you use the metro system. Speaking of which, on some of the older carriages, the doors will not open automatically. You'll need to let yourself in or out by pulling on the latch like so. There are two things to watch out for here in Madrid. The first is pickpockets. Madrid has a serious problem with pickpockets, and they generally target you in incredibly crowded areas, such as the Royal Palace, the metro system, and any other football stadiums. Please keep valuables out of sight and locked away. The other thing you need to watch out for is bill padding. If you're eating out in a restaurant, make sure you know what the prices are and what they add up to, because it's commonplace for restaurants and bars to overcharge you for things that you didn't order. So please be mindful of this, as it's quite commonplace. Guys, if you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share and subscribe. Comment on that comment section below, and if you've got any other bucket list ideas you want me to do, tweet them at me. If I get enough suggestions, I'll go ahead and do it. But guys, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.